Hey guys, good evening, and it's 7 p.m. And as usual, I'm on time with another expert on my fit brain. So I welcome you all to the talk show with Neha Mehta, Psycho Talks. So today we have Mr. Arthur Fernandes all the way from Pune to have a decent and a very interesting chit chat with you. He is a music therapist. Thank you, Arthur, for giving your time to us. How are you?
Thank you so much, Neha, and I really love the way you presented this whole thing. And I'm doing absolutely fine in a very cool city in Pune. And I know in Delhi it's quite hot at the moment, but enjoying my weather here. Totally. Thank you.
कल से तो दिल्ली में भी अच्छा है, आज भी मौसम अच्छा है, बट कब तक रहता है वो शायद पूना वालों को ज़्यादा पता है।
Yeah,
सो
you can't.
सो आई वांट यू टू इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ टू आवर ऑडियंस प्लीज।
Yes. So, like she just introduced me. I'm Arthur Fernandes. I'm a psychologist, a music therapist, a drum circle facilitator, and a counselor. And apart from that, I do a lot more because I love versatility. And I'm a guest faculty at Management Institute, so I teach the MBA HR students. And apart from that, also I'm a musician, so I teach the drums, I teach the guitar, I teach voice, and I train different choirs. I do recordings for the film and music industry, and then I do tours with other concerts and with groups and with choirs, and yeah, professionally. And apart from that, previously also a very interesting stint that I had. I did my I was invited to help in solving cybercrime cases. So that was a very interesting time and very open to that still. Yes, and a very ardent traveler, someone who loves to be mad, stupid, crazy, and ridiculous.
राइट, सो यू लिव ऑन दी फंड आदत जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा, सो डू वट एवर यू विश टू, राइट?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. So, like on the very serious note, so what motivates you to go for like combining psychology with music?
Well, from when it comes to music, I've always been into music, and I started playing the drums when I was 6. And from then on, it was only music all the time. The first time I ever sat on the drum kit, I started playing it. And I've never officially and professionally learned music, but as the years passed on, I got experience, and through all that experience, then I was invited to do recordings with a few people in the industry. And through that learning, I kept learning a lot, maybe with theory of music or the practicality and the uses and everything with training and everything. And since I was a musician anyway, I decided that I need to make the most of it. Well, but how did psychology come in the mix with it, and how did I use psychology is due to few personal family reasons. I wanted to figure out a few things in the family, and which is why I chose to take up psychology and study it. So when I chose psychology, I decided to go on with it. So I've studied abnormal and developmental psychology and done my master's in industrial psychology. And then I got into a job, and I was working in the corporate for a year in human resource. And it wasn't such a pretty time for me, but I still went on, and I left it at the peak of recession. And after I left that job, it was obvious job anywhere, but that was when I vowed never to get in the corporate ever again, no matter what happens. And in the year 2000, on the 16th of August 2007, is when I met with an accident, in a really very bad accident, in which I died and I came back to life. And the reason why I'm back, I knew that there was a purpose why I'm put back into this world. And that's when I decided I need to do something with my talents. And so that's took psychology, put music together, and I did another based therapy course from which I art and drum. and drum circles, and that's how I started doing it till now. And yeah, it's been a very good journey from then, from scratch, and it's been very well welcomed by different kinds of populations and whatnot. So right now, my goal and my vision in life is to make the most of what I have, live my now, don't think about tomorrow, and whatever I do, it has to be to make this world a better place to live in.
Right. So, what kind of clients you basically see? Because being a counselor, I know कि बहुत ज़्यादा extensive जो depression है या बहुत ज़्यादा
Yeah.
heavy mental health problems हैं, क्या उसमें भी music therapy काम करती है?
Yes, tremendously, tremendously. If you speak to me about what kind of clients had, I've had clients who've been through other means and helps that they could get, say, maybe psychotherapy or psychiatry or hypnotherapy. And when they see that all of that has not really worked, what I do is more holistic, and you don't really need to go through a certain procedure or a process. It's all individual based, and I've got clients right from anything. I've not restricted myself only to a certain area because I'd
Hmm.
like to be of help to absolutely anyone and everyone possible. So I've got clients right from special needs, little kids, to elderly people, to depression, to stress, to suicidal tendencies, and how music has really worked for it. Now, since I'm a drum circle facilitator, I've, I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I've been doing it with various kinds of population, right from the police to schools, institutes, colleges, corporates, um, many kinds of populations around the country and internationally too. It really doesn't matter the background of the person, but music is a universal language, and that's how it actually helps people. Now,
True.
how it helps, to give you an example, through my drum circles, I've had many experiences through my drum circles, and well, I've had people who I had this lady who was very upset at the before she entered the drum circle. She was visibly upset, and she did not want to touch the drums. She did not want to play it. She said, I'll just stand and watch. I said, well, you're more than open and very welcome to actually sit down and take an instrument and play if you'd feel like, but don't if you don't want to. I'm absolutely fine. So she acknowledged, and she was very well consenting, and she sat. And when she did so, people are playing the drums around, people are happy, people are excited. So slowly she started tapping her fingers on the drum, and then she started moving her hands over the drum, and then she started playing the drum. And towards the end of the session, she was she was the only one who went wild, she played, she caught so much attention that no one was playing like the way she did. She didn't give a damn about her surroundings of who's looking at her on the right, on the left, front, behind. She didn't give a damn. She played and played and played. And towards the end of it, she expressed herself and she said she felt very light, extremely free, and she narrated that she had a really terrible fight at home before she came, and she was very upset, depressed, and frustrated. But this got her liberated so much. She felt feeling so light like a feather. And that's what music is all about. You don't need to have any sort of musical background, knowledge, or any experience whatsoever to do something like this. It's a universal language. So it actually helps anyone, may it be a little kid or teenagers or elderly people, it really doesn't matter. Anyone can be.
If we see it like around us, music is everywhere, be it among the birds, or be it with the in even in the traffic. We can observe and we can listen to various kind of music. Music is something that connects with people. And
Absolutely.
would you like to share much, like something that would motivate more and more people to take this up as a career option? Because I'm very sure that we must be having quite some listeners who would want to know that how can we be a music therapist?
Yes. Well, they, I would love for people to do first what they love doing. And my personal opinion is that to be a psychologist, you really need to have more of a talent to be a psychologist, and only a degree or certificates will not really make you a psychologist. It's you who has the passion for what you want to do and what you love doing is what will actually make the difference. Now, if you love music and you have a thing for music and people really, associate you with music, that means there is something about you, then you have to do something with it. Now, there are courses, but there are very few courses that provide um, music therapy as a course. If you have to do something like that, there are many courses abroad, and they're more very centered towards music and the therapeutic point of view. So there are
They're
courses,
in.
not too many courses in India at least. There are certificate courses, there are diploma courses, and there are um, graduate degrees too. But well, ultimately, it all boils down to the person as to what they love doing, and
Agreed,
if they
agreed.
see themselves really enjoying doing what they love, like implementing music in everything they do. If they're speaking to people, it has to be music. Well, that's about music. If you're speaking specifically about music therapy, I would encourage a lot of people to get into something they love. And music, why even more so music, is because it's a universal language that anyone connects to. Anyone connects to.
Even I have seen a few case studies in which there has been cases that even the deaf people who
Yeah.
have connected to the music, and they have like enjoyed a music thoroughly because of the frequency that it has.
Yes.
And obviously we work on the brain waves, and the psychiatrists work, the clinical psychologists, they all are working on the brainwave therapies and EMT and different sort of therapies which work directly on the brain waves. But they
Yeah.
tend to like neglect the part of music therapy, because music is something which is very common and we tend to like overlook it sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now, when you mentioned about the deaf who are enjoying the music, well, music is basically about the vibrations and the energy that it actually sends out. And even more so when you're playing an instrument, because you're playing an instrument and the vibrations that it sends out is phenomenal. That is what actually starts to resonate in your body, and that's how it starts to change the energy levels in your body. And which is why when you are upset and you listen to happy music, it heals you. Maybe not the situation, but it gets you out onto a neutral platform at least, if not excited. But it brings you, it elevates you from that stress or that emotion that is pulling you down. Music does such subtle work which you do not know that's happening in you. So there is a video that I always share with people. It is a scientific experiment as to how music works on normal elements around you, like dust particles, fire, and water. Like if you play a certain note, the fire increases. If you are hitting a certain note again, water that is trickling in one line, like if you're pouring water from a bottle, it's going to trickle in one line, yeah? But when
Yeah,
music
yeah.
plays and that particular note
There are
plays,
vibrations, yeah.
that water moves in a zigzag pattern only because of music.
The
Only.
frequencies and the vibrations that it send out to the environment.
Yes,
Definitely, if we like boil down to the, like if we consider us as human beings, we are
yes,
made up of mind, body and soul, which is like everybody talks about. and
Yeah.
they forget about the part that we are all particles of energy, we are all
Yes.
balls of energy, and we are moving, we have energy in ourselves which can
Yes.
neither be created nor be destroyed. So
Yes.
we basically work on the energies that we have in ourselves.
Yes. Yes. Well, what you're speaking about right now, that we are all particles put together, it brings me to, people ask me, so you're Arthur Fernandes, so you're a Christian, right? And I always tell them, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. So there's a
That is
huge
a
difference.
huge conversation that people should. There are not
Yes.
many people who know much about spirituality. Would you like to like
Yeah.
enlighten us about it?
Oh, yes,
What is
because
spirituality and how does it work?
well, spirituality is you. This now, I am very much inclined towards Buddhist philosophy and cosmology. So, Buddhism is not a religion, it is a way of life. It's just a simple way of life. It's simplicity. It encourages you to respect everything and everyone around you, including oxygen and your sofa and the trees and everything, because you are dependent. Your existence is dependent on them, and their existence is dependent on you. In philosophical terms, you can call it anthropocentrism, which means humans, they are at the top of the pyramid, but it's not so. It is not. Everything is equal. Land, water, rivers, everything is equal. Now, when you say about spiritualism, you have a soul, and your soul is connected with everything around you. Everything has a soul. There is another experiment online again. It's with a company. It's called the double slit theory, which people can
I
always
have heard
Google.
of it. Yeah,
Yes, it shows how particles respond when you're observing it. When you observe it, it behaves itself. When you don't observe, it's itself and it plays and it's doing its own thing. It
agreed, agreed.
There are people who say no, no. You know what? Music is nothing hardcore with music. I will show you that it really is. Well, there are scientific experiments that prove to you that there has been no medication of any sort or controlled that has caused or provoked that kind of a behavior in that particle. So when you speak about being spiritual, you're not following a, a god, you're not following a system, you're not ritualistic at all. You are believing that you are the temple, you are the service, and the prayer is you, and everything you do is your worship. So you're not really worshiping a god or a name or a figure. You're just respecting everything around you and you as a person.
Yourself.
Yes, very much. And
So
that brings you
very,
down to
it's
limit.
very, it's very rightly said that the what should I say, the charity begins at home and charity begins
Yes,
at from ourselves, and we need to
yes,
work on ourselves in order to like move ahead and move forward. I
yes,
have just one I had two more questions, but yeah, I'll restrict myself to this one last question, being that we are suggested that we shouldn't be going into a hypnotic state or going doing meditation when we are in a
yeah.
negative mindset. Is there any such like do nots attached to music therapy?
No, not really. Absolutely not. Well, but there is also a situation where you probably would recommend people not to listen to music, the genre of music of heavy metal or death metal, because that starts to enrage you as a person and even your mental activity. So your breath starts to increase in pace because you're listening to that sort of music. But otherwise, it's a very, very safe um, method and means to work through anything, absolutely anything. So I use and also recommend few Buddhist chants like Tibetan incarnations. and also other musical notes that are just played at a particular hertz. And there's a recommendation where if you're listening to it, you have to listen to it through some very good earphones that have good bass, because it's the bass that actually adds to it, and not listen to it through your phone or something that is mono. It has to have a stereo effect in it. So now, also to give you an example, when I have clients coming to my clinic, or my setup is, before they enter, 20 minutes or half an hour before, I play these chants. And these chants are basically there to reduce any heightened emotion or vibrations or energy levels in the room. It neutralizes everything. So every time, it's not even once, without exaggeration, where a client has just walked in and started speaking. Every client that has walked in and entered that space has always said there is something different in this room or in this area, that it just feels so calm. Like I've been so upset because of the traffic, or I'm so irritated, but when I walked in, it's like something just holds you in, and you're comfortable. So your vibrations and your energy levels just neutralize.
So
Music.
I would that is something that is like triggering me to say that we as psychologists, whenever we have client, we have to work on ourselves and our energy so that the client feels a little comfortable with us and the rapport building is easier. So this is something that that you would like to suggest to the other psychologists, that they can play such amazing music so that their job is a little easier, so that the
Oh,
music
yes,
takes over.
very much, very much. That's exactly what I do. Even for my talks or anything, I always play music in the background, even as the session is on. But it's played very lightly. It's a 20-minute piece. You can always type it on YouTube. It's called Tibetan Incarnations. And just type that in. There are two pieces that come up there, 20, 24-minute each. Just play that and let it play in the background. It may be audible to you or it may not. Just play it very lightly, and it helps so much. You may not know how, but probably a professional therapist would know exactly what's happening in the room. And that therapist who's in the room will pinpoint and say, this is what's happening with this person now. If this person is agitated, you will see how this person is actually relaxing now. With no talking, with no advice, with no recommendations, with no nothing. It is their own self healing that's taking place. That's about it. So, and when I do drum circles, I did drum circles for the All Goa Psychiatric Association for around 70 psychiatrists that came there. And they thought, who the hell is this young chap coming to try and teach us and show us what this is all about? And we've been in this industry for so many years. He's so knowledgeable about it, and how is he going to try and show us how this is going to help? So that's how I was invited to do a session with them. The drum circle basically made them feel, it encouraged them to feel and experience what actually happens in a person, and how they start to change as a person. There are many ways to see how the person is before the drum circle and how they are after the drum circle, or any music session. I had, I could say, the audacity and the guts to tell all the psychiatrists that one music session, or a one drum circle session, which is for a duration of around 45 minutes to an hour, is equivalent to at least 3 to 5 sessions with a counselor or a psychiatrist or a therapist.
They must have been very pissed on this statement that you said.
Well,
But this is something that is really motivating me to take up music therapy ahead, myself being a young psychologist who is just getting into the field. I
yeah.
really appreciate this. And can you like suggest us the ways through which we can connect to us, the other listeners that who would be listening to us? via
Yes,
YouTube and via Facebook?
yes, yes. Well, since I've signed up with MyFitBrain, so you need to just type onto the search music therapist, and that's where I'd pop up. And apart from that, you could probably just Google Arthur Fernandes drum circles. You'll get everything about me. If you'd like to connect with me directly, I'll be more than happy to connect with you all um, through my Fit Brain, obviously. And if at all you'd have to see my videos or something, you can Google. I run a company called Music Matters, so you just type in Music Matters and it'll come up there. On YouTube, also, there's my videos of my drum circles that I've done. And on Instagram, also, it's again the same Music Matters Official. And my personal handle on Instagram is Fern underscore art, FERN underscore ART. So you'll get to see a lot of that stuff there and a lot of
Definitely,
motivational
definitely.
stuff and a lot of craziness, a lot of stupidity, a lot of madness, a lot of travel, a lot of just mischief. That's it.
That is part of life. We can't just be always working, and that is
No.
something that really hampers us. That
Yes,
we are expected, all of us, be it like any profession, we are always expected to be working, working, working. Since how long? For how
yes,
much hours that we should be working?
yes. You need to live and stop existing.
Definitely, definitely. I really appreciate the time that you took out to be with us at My Fit Brain. Thank you so much,
Thank
Arthur.
you. Thank you, Shristi. And just to be a little, give a little bit to the audience, we had a little really nice, lovely chat before the session, and which was really very nice. And Shristi is somebody who's very vibrant, and she's from Rajasthan. And we were talking about Rajasthan when I made a trip there, and I really love interacting. We picked up quite well, and thank you, Shristi, for actually, that little rapport that we had before warming up to the session here. It was really, really, really very nice of you to do that.
Definitely, definitely. That is something that we always look forward to. That is something that we really need at times. Thank you
Yes,
so much, Arthur.
thank you.
I
Thank
would
you
be
so
like
much.
connecting. I Then my next step would be to like search you on MyFitBrain and book you,
Yes,
so that I
please.
can learn more about you. And I think the our listeners should also do the same.
I'll be more than happy. I'll be very, very happy to connect with people. Very, very happy. And thank you, Neha, because I think she has a session to go. She had to exit. But
Yes, yes, she
thank
has.
you, Neha.
She has. She has another session planned at 8 p.m. That is, she is.
Yes,
She must be there in the background. She must like put us.
probably.
Yeah. All right. Thank you
Good.
so much, Arthur, for for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over. I love this time. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely.
Thank you
And
both
Neha,
of you for scheduling this session.
thank you, Neha. Thank you so much.
So, how you like this platform?
Oh, it's lovely. The kind of interaction I see even on the WhatsApp groups, it's quite alive, very alive, and obviously interacting with people like you and Christy and all that, very exciting. I love the life in this group.
So, stay connected, keep participating in house activities, and I request
Yeah.
everyone to keep listening us. We will be coming tomorrow again at 7 p.m. with the new expert. कल इंटरनेशनल योगा डे है, तो देखते हैं हम क्या नई एक्टिविटी लेके आपके साथ आते हैं. Thank you
Definitely,
so
definitely.
much. Love you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Happy evening ahead.
Happy evening ahead.